Welcome to the next session of your course. This session is probably the cornerstone for natural nutrition.
It seems to me as though you can get more attention with a rogue plumber or bricklayer than you can with these people that are out there giving advice.
Barbara Wren, principal of the Devon-based College of Natural Nutrition, which offers what's billed as a diploma. The course costs more than £1,300, and Barbara Wren claims to have taught hundreds of therapists her own unique syllabus.
We're talking about the macrocosm being expressed in the microcosm, and if these electrolytes move properly, that's full hydration.
One graduate of the College of Natural Nutrition is Barbara Nash, who runs her own practice near Oxford. It's alleged that she prescribed a so-called hydration diet that left this woman, Dawn Page, brain damaged. The Pages say that within days of following Barbara Nash's weight loss advice, Mrs. Page was bedridden and vomiting.
What made the situation worse was once Mrs. Nash became aware of that combination of events, the advice that was given to Dawn was to increase her water intake to 6 pints, so as not to dehydrate, as I understand.
The Pages believe that this amount, along with the vomiting, was enough to seriously upset Dawn's body chemistry, so that she suffered organ failure, epilepsy, and ultimately brain damage.
I can't remember anything before. My boys, I can't remember them, they're little then. Too big now. Well, you know, they're just in there on the pictures. My mum and my sisters, I can't remember the faces before, just pictures to me.
Barbara Nash's insurers have now paid Dawn an £800,000 settlement, but with no admission of liability. Barbara Nash maintains that Dawn misunderstood her advice. But one doctor and journalist who's strongly critical of the nutritional therapy industry says he's not surprised that things went so badly wrong.
The individual practitioner, it's quite tempting to blame them, but then they're being aggrandised by these sort of strange, made-up colleges and bodies that are training them and accrediting them. It's quite natural that she would have thought that she was an expert. She was vindicated and validated by the person who trained her, by the professional bodies that set her up. I think we've almost kind of all conspired in this sort of puffing up of this bizarre pseudoscientific world of nutrition therapists.
Right guys, who wants juice?
Me. And it's a world that's said to be worth more than £4.5 billion a year in the UK alone. As more people are tempted by so-called superfoods, supplements and natural therapies, the number of nutritional advisors is rocketing. While only trained and regulated professionals can call themselves dietitians, anyone can call themselves a nutritional therapist.
Well, you're eating it.
In fact, in the world of complementary medicine, there are many such colleges selling their wares on the internet. But we wanted to find out more about the College of Natural Nutrition and its principal, Barbara Wren.
This building in Regent's Park in the heart of London has nothing to do with the College of Natural Nutrition, except that this is where Barbara Wren sometimes teaches her students. It'll be interesting to see whether her lectures are as impressive as the location.
The best thing to do is pack your thyroid first with castor oil and then with your own urine, and do that.
I attended a lecture undercover. During the day, Barbara Wren made many incredible claims, including that she had successfully prescribed a cure for thyroid cancer.
A friend who had cancer of the thyroid has gone in no time. As I say, when we have the day on techniques, all is revealed. Okay. So you do castor oil, and then it's a good thing to do when you waken in the morning. Waken an hour earlier. Half an hour castor oil, half an hour urine, 5 days a week.
And that cured your friend's cancer?
And her diet and technique, absolutely. And her cancer was in...
It's not the only time Barbara Wren has made this claim. She said the same thing at an earlier lecture that we asked one of the country's leading dietitians to attend.
The impression I got from the anecdote was that the patient's cancer was caused by a computer stored under the bed.
you know, so that there was a huge electromagnetic disturbance in there, anti-iron.
And that Barbara Wren had treated the cancer successfully by using a compress of oil and urine applied to the neck.
And did anybody there challenge that?
No, everybody was writing it down and saying, how big should the cloth be? And I was thinking, not how big should the cloth be? Why are you suggesting that you can treat a quite aggressive tumour in the neck with an external compress? In fact, if you do use a cloth, it has to be 27 inches by 12, folded into 3. It was laughable, and in fact, it was laughable if it wasn't so serious.
At our lecture, Barbara Wren claimed to be able to treat a wide range of serious conditions, including schizophrenia and Crohn's disease. And at the earlier lecture, she gave an astonishing piece of advice about iodine supplements. What you're about to hear was recorded by Barbara Wren at the lecture and afterwards sold as a CD to students.
Omega-6, but absolutely vital is iodine. A very good and important dose for iodine is 12.5 milligrams per day. But next year our government will decree that it is illegal for me to prescribe more than half a milligram.
She quite rightly stated that the limit of the amount of iodine you should have each day is around half a milligram, and that is correct. What was very worrying to say was that she disagreed with that level, and that she felt, in her opinion, that people needed 25 times what the government say is the maximum amount we should be taking.
And in order to get that kind of quantity, Barbara told her students to buy a chemical called Lugol's solution, and she told them to get it from pet shops, where it's sold as a water conditioner for fish tanks.
The consequences of overdosing on iodine is that you'll become thyrotoxic, you'll develop hyperthyroidism, you become very twitched, your heart rate will be very fast, you could actually boost in some people the production of thyroxine so much that it actually causes you to become ill, and then you need to be admitted to hospital.
The HQ of Barbara Wren's operation is on an industrial estate in Tiverton.
Well, it's not quite as impressive as Regent's College in London, and it's not as easy to find either. But if you receive a diploma in natural nutrition, this is where it comes from. The question is, what's that diploma worth?
A question we wanted to put to the college principal. But despite writing to Barbara Wren several times and calling at her home, she didn't respond. So I caught up with her on her way to work.
Barbara Wren, I'm sorry to bother you. I'm Sam Smith from the BBC. I think you know that we'd like to put to you some serious allegations about some of the things you're teaching people on your course. Would you like me to remind you of what they are now? One of the most serious is that you're making claims about things which are legally questionable. Well, you do. You claim that you have cured somebody's thyroid cancer by applying urine and castor oil to their neck. You do. I've heard you say that myself.
No, you haven't, because I said she was doing many other things.
Well, I did hear you say that.
She asked if that would be appropriate.
And you did indeed do that. But that's not the only thing. You also suggest to people that they should medicate themselves and other people by consuming something which is sold in pet shops to treat the water in fish tanks. Is that a responsible thing to do? Is it responsible to send people out into the world when they've had maybe a couple of dozen lectures with you to treat the most serious of conditions? Do you not think you have a responsibility to account for anything that you teach, Barbara? Well, Barbara denied the most serious allegation against her, that she claims to treat people with cancer. I've heard her make that claim myself, and she clearly doesn't want to talk to us about any of the other allegations.
What worries me about alternative therapists as an industry is that there's no critical self-appraisal, and when other people come in from outside and start to ask questions about the evidence, then instead of engaging on the kind of science of their claims, it all becomes quite political and often sort of slightly histrionic. I think it becomes dangerous when people aren't willing to discuss the evidence behind their ideas, and it becomes more like a religion.
So it seems that in the world of nutrition, beware who you believe and what advice you swallow.